Angela Merkel's CDU party received a blow on Sunday in a local election in the Chancellor's home state. While the Social Democrats held on to the leading spot, Merkel's Conservatives were pushed out of second place by Alternative for Germany, or AfD. AfD finished with a solid 20% share, another major gain for the right-wing party, which is eyeing seats in the Bundestag next year.
Ladies and gentlemen, here you have started the end of the CDU.
Maybe today is the beginning of the end of the chancellorship of Angela Merkel.
Now, Peter Oliver joins me now to discuss the latest results. Now, this vote, Peter, is being seen as a key test for Angela Merkel in her own home state. How are the results being perceived so far?
Well, you'd be forgiven for not noticing that the Social Democrats actually won, because all of the news has been that Alternative for Germany, the AfD, had bumped Angela Merkel's party, the Christian Democratic Union, into third place. Now, there was big celebrations in Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania last night, but that was also represented from across Europe on social media. We saw congratulatory messages coming in from Marine Le Pen, the right-wing leader in France, also from Heinz-Christian Strache in Austria, the right-wing leader there, and Geert Wilders, the chief Eurosceptic in the Netherlands, also adding his congratulations to the AfD win. But there was also messages from within Angela Merkel's own party, or her own coalition, with some saying that this had to be taken as a wake-up call. This state, Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, that's Angela Merkel's home ground. It's her own state where her constituency is. Although this doesn't represent a defeat directly for the Chancellor, it was a body blow, and certainly a blow to her, her standing in the region. We've also heard from some of her Christian Socialist Union allies saying that they really have to turn this around ahead of next year's general election. Well, when it comes to turning speech around, what we have heard from the Chancellor has been some of her rhetoric starting to even mirror what we're hearing coming out of the mouth of Frauke Petry, the leader of AfD, perhaps trying to get on the back of some of the popularity that she's gained.
It is politically naive to deny that illegal, uncontrolled immigration is linked to an increase in terrorism. We need to change our policies on refugees.
There are a number of terrorists who grew up in Europe, in Germany as well, who were then trained in Syria and came back, even using the refugee flow to smuggle in other terrorists.
These days, several groups in the AfD present their own draft bills to state parliaments to ban wearing burqas and niqabs. We would like our counterparts to stay recognizable in daily life, and that doesn't work with a burqa or niqab.
In my view, a fully covered woman has little chance of integrating in Germany.
We have not faced such migrant flows before, and what we face right now has no relevance to the present rules. That's why it should be openly discussed that we should stop receiving refugees.
It is very important, especially in this period of time when a lot of people have already come to us, that we say yes, we want to significantly reduce the numbers who come to Germany.
Well, we're in an interesting point in German domestic politics at the moment. We're 1 year on since Angela Merkel opened the country up to refugees and migrants, and we're about 1 year out from the next general election. Angela Merkel, of course, still hasn't said whether she'll run in that general election. Many people are thinking she might wait until after these local votes that are taking place across the country before announcing. We'll be keeping an eye on how those local ballots develop across Germany and whether the Chancellor decides she wants 4 more years.
RT's Peter Oliver there reporting from Berlin. Why a mother has painted signs on her house telling police her son has a mental illness. That and more news after this short break.
Most people think to stand out in this business, you need to be the first one on top of the story, or the person with the loudest voice or the biggest ratings. In truth, To stand out in the news business, you just need to ask the right questions and demand the right answers. Question more.
What do you think about sanctions?
Easy right or wrong, but I definitely think sanctions are better than conflict.
You don't perform for diplomatic reasons. You perform for humanitarian ways.
I'm talking obviously about Edward Snowden.
I believe he's a hero. I believe he's coming directly from his heart.
Welcome back to the program. Criticism and controversy have been piling up over the Clinton Foundation as Hillary makes her bid for the presidency. Bernie Sanders, who challenged her for the Democratic nomination, has just joined the chorus.
I would certainly suggest that as President of the United States, she should cease all operations, all contact with the Clinton Foundation.
The Clinton Foundation, which marks its 15th anniversary in 2016, has raised questions over transparency more than once since it was established.
The Clinton Foundation, open for business since 2001. Its goal, very noble, to address urgent challenges and empower people to build themselves better futures. 6 years in, though, and its wealthy fundraising sources were also raising eyebrows, with seemingly dodgy donations or charitable partnerships with groups tied to foreign or corporate interests. At the time, Hillary Clinton was attempting her first run for the presidency. In 2008, a long list of donors came out, and it included a few politically sensitive ones, like Saudi Arabia. The foundation, though, kept reassuring everyone that there were no conflicts of interest. But it wasn't enough to stop the scandals piling up around the Clinton Foundation. Here's some of the biggest. It was accused of selling access to the State Department while Hillary was running it. Not that it came cheap. The Crown Prince of Bahrain gave at least $32 million to the foundation and secured a chat with Hillary. In fact, get this, more than half of all donors have met with or held phone conversations with then Secretary Clinton. It even extends to a national level. Monies flowed in from nations known to have committed human rights abuses. Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, to name just a few. Some of that cash magically makes its way to pay for speaking fees for Bill Clinton. Plus, with his wife working as Secretary of State, the cost doubled or even tripled, raising between 150 grand to around $750,000. And perhaps you might remember Huma Abedin, a longtime Clinton aide with a surprisingly busy work schedule. For a while in 2012, she managed to hold down 4 jobs at the same time, in the State Department, the Foundation, Clinton's personal office, and a private consultancy. Oh yes, it had ties to the Clintons too. The Foundation was subpoenaed over Abedin's epic employment. So what about transparency now? With Hillary Clinton going for a second-time lucky shot at the White House, the Foundation again promises to eliminate any concerns over conflicts of interest. Not that it stopped calls for an independent audit and full disclosure of donors. And if she makes it to his old office, Bill Clinton promises to step down from the board and no longer be a fundraiser. But even Hillary seems to find it hard to sugarcoat the thought of Bill quitting the family foundation.
Oh my gosh, it's really good.
Secretary
All right,
Clinton,
folks.
any comment on your husband leaving the foundation?
Everybody try one.
Police officers in the U.S. state of Nevada allegedly brutally assaulted a mentally ill man after breaking into his house. 28-year-old Zachary McKim has the IQ of a 2-year-old child and lives with his mother, Judy. The incident happened after a neighbor called police about a domestic disturbance inside the house. According to his mother, he had a fit of anger, which is usual for his condition. She also says she tried to stop officers by telling them her son had a mental illness. Zachary was taken to hospital and kept there for 2 days.
The police came, they just charged in my house, they went to Zach's room, I was yelling, he's autistic, and then they climbed on the bed. There was 3 officers on the bed with my son. My angle, I only saw one officer with his knee on my son's chest, on the upper chest, shouting at him with his arm cocked back, and I could not see what he was reaching for, but it terrified me. They knew that an autistic person lived here, and yet they had no sensitivity. They charged in my house and assaulted my son in his own little bed with a diaper on and a pacifier in his mouth.
The local police department's reports on the incident doesn't mention that officers touched Zachary. It also states that local policemen don't wear body cameras. According to a police spokesperson, the family hasn't filed a complaint. Back to our breaking news story now. Islamic State has claimed responsibility for a suicide blast in the northeastern Syrian city of Hasaka, which is predominantly controlled by Kurdish forces. Coordinated explosions also rocked the cities of Tartus, Damascus and Homs. In total, at least 40 civilians were killed. That's according to local media reports. Twin blasts reportedly hit the entrance to the northwestern city of Tartus, which houses a Russian naval base. There was also an explosion at a checkpoint in the capital, Damascus. In the western city of Homs, the blast apparently hit a residential area, killing at least 2. And in Hasaka, an attacker detonated his motorcycle at a roundabout. We'll bring you more as details come in. Up next on RT International, Sophie Shevardnadze discusses the fight against the Taliban with a former chief of Pakistan's intelligence service. That's in Sophie & Co.